And we're back, everyone. The time is 6:46 a.m. I think someone needs to give the sun that memo because we can still see the moon out this morning, looking like a full moon behind some scattered clouds. Pretty cool picture on this Wednesday morning. Let's go ahead and get started with news. With the 2018 midterm elections less than 2 weeks away, we reveal the latest results from the MTM News Montana State University poll surrounding Montana's U.S. House race. MTM Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison has the details.
The MTN MSU poll of 2,000 registered Montana voters gives Republican Greg Gianforte a 7.5-point lead over Democrat Kathleen Williams, 47.6% to 40.1%. 2.4% of those polls say they're supporting Libertarian Eleanor Swanson, but 10% are undecided or supporting someone else. The poll has a margin of error of plus or minus 2% and was taken during a 3-week period between September 17th and October 6th. MTN political analyst David Parker says these numbers show Gianforte is a clear favorite in the race, but he also sees a narrow path that Williams could pursue to make it closer.
I see growth potential in the fact that if she can get more women, especially married women, because 11% of married women are undecided in this race. That tells me there might be some coolness, some leeriness, some wariness towards Greg Gianforte that she could capitalize in this race.
The poll shows that more women voters overall support Williams, 47% to 41% over Gianforte. But Gianforte has a huge advantage among male voters who favor him 54% to 34%. He also has a big or solid lead among all voters 40 and older, while Williams leads only among those younger than 40, a group that usually has lower turnout. And Gianforte has a substantial lead among voters with less than a college degree, a group that makes up a majority of Montanans. One bright spot for Williams is that she leads among voters who call themselves independents, a big voting bloc in Montana. But Parker says for Williams to pull an upset, she needs not only these independents, but also a lot of other dominoes to fall her way.
Kathleen to win, everything's got to go right. She needs to have high Democratic voter turnout. She needs to have those independents move in her direction. And then she's got to hope for some Republicans either move towards her or don't show up.
Republicans have won this seat for 12 consecutive elections. Our poll indicates that streak will likely stay intact, and that breaking it is a possibility, but a long shot. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
And next up on the MTN MSU poll, the 2 major ballot measures will reveal those results tomorrow morning. An election mailer sent out by the Republican National Committee has an error. The mailer contains instructions on getting your absentee ballot, but the last step at the bottom tells voters that as long as their ballots are postmarked by November 5th and received within 10 days of Election Day, they will be counted. But that is not the case. Ballots must be received by no later than 8 p.m. on Election Day, which is Tuesday, November 6th. That means if you don't think your ballot will get there in time by mail, you will need to drop it off at your county election office to be counted. And speaking of ballots, so far more than 23,000 absentee ballots have been returned here in Yellowstone County. Statewide, more than 110,000 ballots have been returned. If you aren't registered to vote, you still have time. You can register in person at your local elections office up until Election Day. Meanwhile, one of the big tobacco giants, Altria, has put in another $5 million into the campaign against Initiative 185. Supporters of the Medicaid expansion and tobacco tax ballot measure have recently added nearly $3 million to their campaign effort. The campaign over I-185 is now the second most expensive campaign in Montana this year, trailing only the U.S. Senate race. Companies against the initiative have pitched in $17.5 million. Those 4 have contributed $7.7 million. The initiative would raise tobacco taxes by $2 a pack to help fund the state share of Medicaid expansion. In other news, 3 more Montana tribes will gain access to a United States Department of Justice database in 2019. The Tribal Access Program for National Crime Information, or TAP, started in August of 2015. The Blackfeet, Crow, and Northern Cheyenne tribes will gain access to the program in the upcoming year. The goal of TAP is to help tribes gain access to national crime information systems for both civil and criminal purposes. The Justice Department will expand the number of tribes who have access to TAP by more than 50% in 2019. A burglary investigation is underway at the Happy Homes Apartments on Billings West End. A resident reported a staff maintenance worker used a master key to unlock her apartment door and steal prescription drugs. Billings police tell Q2 a burglary was reported on October 16th at the complex near King and Shiloh. But because the investigation is active, police are not confirming the suspect is a Happy Homes employee. The resident who reported the burglary says she wants other residents to be aware and check their medication. Happy Homes declined to comment. Continuing our coverage, divers, search and rescue teams, and a man tracking team from Wyoming are just some of the resources being used in the ongoing search for a Canadian man who mysteriously went missing in the area of Pryor Road. There's still no sign of 37-year-old Cam Cullen, who was last seen October 4th during a bachelor party. But on Tuesday, the Yellowstone County Sheriff's Office tried a new tactic by bringing in a K-9 team with a robot to comb Pryor Creek looking for any clues. At this point, the search is still taking place at the property on Pryor Road where Colin was last seen. Cam's sister Julia tells Q2 that he attended Montana Tech in Butte and was in Billings for the wedding of a good friend. Julia has been in town for several days, walking the area, hanging posters, and giving information to police. She says she's trying to stay strong and keep hope alive. The Colin family is offering a $10,000 reward for information on Cam's whereabouts. And we now have more information on the crash that took one person's life in Park County early Tuesday. The Park County coroner says 22-year-old Connor Mugnier died in the crash, which was reported just before 2 a.m. north of Wilsow on Flathead Creek Road and Highway 86. The Montana Highway Patrol says Mugnier failed to navigate a left-hand curve, lost control, and was thrown from the vehicle. He was flown to a Bozeman hospital where he was pronounced dead. We are told he was not wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash. A passenger in the car suffered only minor injuries. More and more Montanans can legally smoke marijuana. The Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services reports the number of medical marijuana patients is on the rise. Data released on October 20th shows just over 29,000 medical marijuana patients with providers. That's an increase of about 2,500 since July. Those patients are served by 388 state-approved providers. 33 additional provider applications are pending. 221 Montana doctors have patients who have been prescribed medical marijuana. The state data shows Gallatin County has the most patients and providers with more than 5,200 cardholders and nearly 100 providers. The number one condition medical marijuana is prescribed for is severe chronic pain. The largest group of cardholders are adults ages 30 to 40, and 43% of all cardholders are under the age of 40. 1/3 of the state's providers serve 3 or fewer patients. However, state data shows one provider has more than 2,000 cardholders. LGBTQ and civil rights activists around the country are protesting a memo that would roll back protections for transgender people. According to the memo obtained by the New York Times over the weekend, the Department of Health and Human Services is spearheading an effort to establish a legal definition of sex under Title IX of the Civil Rights Act. The reviewed draft said the agency's proposed definition would define sex as either male or female, unchangeable, and determined by the genitals that a person is born with. The Times says the new definition would essentially eradicate federal recognition of Americans who have opted to recognize themselves surgically or otherwise as a gender other than the one they were born into. Disability Rights Montana attorney Bobby Zenker says the memo could present a number of problems for transgender people, especially when it comes to their official documents, such as driver's licenses or even hunter registration cards. Zenker says the trans community is most worried about the repeated effort in places like North Carolina to keep the LGBTQ community out of public spaces, such as restrooms.
If you have legislation that would not allow people to do that, that effectively keeps those people out of public spaces. So that is what that effort does, is to let's not allow certain groups of people into public spaces. So in that sense, we're not recognizing their humanity.
The New York Times says a new definition will likely be presented to the Justice Department by the end of this year.